Catherine. Sorry. Hope you're having a good day. We are going live to a press conference where UofL head coach Jeff Brohm is talking to reporters. Let's jump in.
Your coaching staff is back pretty much intact. I'm wondering how unusual that is for you, and is it helpful from the standpoint that with the constant recruiting going on these days, the portal and everything, that at least you didn't have to go out and recruit a coach?
It's definitely great to have all of our entire staff back this year. That is uncommon nowadays in college football. I think our guys are really good coaches. They're great people. They want to be here. They know what can be accomplished if we put in the work and we figure out ways to continue to improve and get better. So I think they're excited about the future as much as anyone else. They've done a really good job, and it'll be good to have the entire group back for this year for sure.
Jeff, so much is talked about turnover and change. You came in last year, you embraced the portal, you talked about, using it to your advantage. Is it difficult at times though when you have a new roster to in putting things in or where things are and new guys and new faces and new terminology? How do you kind of manage all of that?
Well, I think the number one goal is to try to win and to win now. And that's always going to be our goal, is to try to win football games this year, play at a high level, compete at the highest level we possibly can, be very competitive every single week. So in order to do that, you got to just continue to build your roster. And, every year it's going to be slightly different as far as what your needs are or where you think things stand. But at the same time, you're always trying to improve the roster and get better. And we want to continue to do that. And I think there are a lot of new pieces. The way the rules have been set up in college football, you're probably going to continue to see rosters change quite a bit. You have to be able to adjust. But right now, our guys have been here this summer. Really, everybody except for one that we can't talk about yet is here. They're working out. They're getting accustomed to our conditioning, our workouts, our terminology, how we practice. A lot of football stuff is being done as well, and we've got to utilize that. I think it's important that when you're gelling a team, you put as much time into it as possible. And these summer months are valuable for us, and right now we're about halfway through that juncture, moving on to the second part of it, and our guys have done a good job to this point. And that's about getting everyone up to speed, keeping guys healthy, getting guys that have injuries through last season, through the spring, back healthy as well, so that come game one, your full roster is ready to go. They know exactly the plan. They can execute it, they can play fast, and they can go, showcase what they're all about.
Jeff, kind of going along with that, obviously MJ, Renato, Ja'Cory, a few of the guys that were out. What's the update on them? How are they kind of progressing, and are they on track to be ready for the fall?
Well, those are very good players, and we're excited about the future. MJ, unfortunately, got hurt in camp last year, so he is fully healed and recovered. He's had a great summer. Looking forward to him having a great year. He's a really good leader, and I think he'll do a great job. Renato, unfortunately, got hurt in pregame warmups in the pit game. We lost him. He's getting close to 100%. I think by the time we can get to fall camp, he'll be there. But he's still got a little ways to go, but he's done a really good job. He's a very valuable piece as well. Ja'Cory Brooks had a shoulder issue that we had to get fully healed, that he was limited in the spring. He's full speed now. Obviously, we're protecting him as well, but he's full speed. He's looking good. He needs to be a big part of our offense.
Yeah. As you get, I think, 3 weeks away from practice starting around that, what areas of the team are you most comfortable with, and what areas do you have the most concerns with?
Well, I do feel like that we've built depth on both the offense and defensive line, which is extremely important. How you play in the trenches really determines if you can win big football games or not. And I think we've added valuable depth there. And hopefully we can see quite a few guys playing on both sides of the line and have great competition. And that's an important piece. When you go from there on the defensive side, I think we have some really good depth in the secondary. We feel very confident that those guys can play very well also, and they did last year, but I think we can be even better. The linebacking unit we'd like, but just like last year, we had some unproven pieces that stepped up and played well. There's a mixture of both now. We've got a couple veterans that I think will play well, and then we've got some new guys that need to step up and emerge and do a good job. but we're confident that that can be done. So the depth there maybe isn't exactly where we wanted, but it's continuing to improve. And sometimes you just got to get on the field and play. So when we get to the offensive side of the ball, I like our quarterback room. We're continuing to improve there and add depth behind Tyler. The running back room, I feel confident that we have multiple guys that can go in and play and do a really good job. The receiving room, I think, has talent. We've got to just put it all together, and we've got to be more efficient and better in the passing game and find ways to create big plays and throw the ball vertically and get the ball in our receivers' hands, and they got to be consistent each and every week. And in the tight end position, we do have Mark Redmond here now, who's a veteran with 1 year left to play that I think will do a really good job for us. Jamari Johnson has improved from last year. He was a true freshman. And then we've added Isaiah Cummins and Jaleel Skinner that you saw some in the spring that are continuing to advance and get better. And we're going to need the tight end position. And we have Nate Kariski, who's a solid veteran that can catch the ball and block. So I think we've improved that position, and they've got to get on the field and prove it. So in general, I think we have a talented football team that just has to, figure out who the playmakers are going to be, know what their roles are, and play at the highest level they can.
Jeff, what will you work on with Tyler once you get out on the field and get I know before you had a quarterback that had played for you, but he's never played for you. I hear he's got a very strong arm. And what things will you try to smooth out with him and get him to know before the first game?
We're excited about Tyler. I think he competed in the spring and did a good job. He showcased his arm strength. He's learned our offense. He has it down. He studies. He's a student of the game. He's a veteran. He's played a lot of football. He's had some ups and downs, which is good that he's been seasoned. So I think, even now we can spend some time with him, and we have. And I feel good about where he's at, and I think he can play at a high level. Obviously, he's had a few injuries through his career, but he was asked to run the ball quite a bit in the past. And while we'll have that package available, at the same time, we want to make sure that we protect him. He can throw it. We get the ball in our playmakers' hands, and we don't have to run him as much. So we feel confident about his leadership skills, what he brings to the table, and we think he can have a big year.
Defensively, you might have a better team than you had last year. Talk about that. You got a lot of people back. You were pretty good last year, too.
Well, I like our defense, and I think through 10 games last year, we played at a high level, and we're really, really good. Had some dominant games, and then we probably slipped a little at the very end, which is not good. But there's a lot of things that we can learn from, and we definitely have tried to utilize the last 6 or so months to make sure that doesn't happen again, because I think we are talented. So I think, plenty of veterans, Ashton Gelati, Quincy Riley, amongst a whole slew of others. We've added some additional guys that have played a lot of football at some of those positions. So I think we're going to be able to play a lot of guys on defense. We want to be as aggressive as we can, but yet, not give up big plays and keep the score low and create turnovers. But I like our pieces, and without question, I expect our defense to play very well this year.
Jeff, when looking at the spring portal window, all but one of your additions in that window were on the defensive line. 2 questions. Coming out of spring, was D-line an area of concern that maybe you had when you wanted to kind of bolster in that area? And 2, how have those newcomers, not just on the D-line, but them plus Dan Foster, how have they kind of gelled with the team, both in terms of chemistry and how they've looked in summer workouts and things like that?
Well, I think the trenches is the area, defense and offensive line, that you got to be good at. And, there's a lot of great skilled players throughout the country that you can recruit and go get, and obviously some are a little bit better than others. But on the defense and offensive front, you've got to be good, and you've got to be physical, you've got to be athletic, you've got to be able to change the outcome of the game. So I think we understand that, and we tried to attack it in that way. So I think when you look at defensive line, without question, Ashton Gelati and Roman Puryear and Des Tell, Jared Dawson are all guys that have played. But I think when you look at, adding Thor Griffin up front, adding Miles Jernigan, Richard Kindley, Renee Conga, those are all guys that play a lot of football, and I'm probably leaving out a few as well. Jordan Garrard, who we added in the spring, unfortunately got injured, but was doing a really good job. I think we have quite a bit of depth on the defensive line, and we can play quite a few guys. And obviously, you want to see difference makers emerge that can take over the game, but at the same time, we're going to have competition. I think on the offensive line, we have more depth than we've had in the past. We should be able to play 9 or 10 guys if they're healthy and doing what they're supposed to do, which gives us competition as well. And it gives you the ability to rotate guys some. It gives you the ability to pull guys out of the game if they're not doing what they're supposed to, and make sure they understand that we expect them to play at a high level and be their best every time they step on the field. So that's what you're looking for. Obviously, they got to go out and prove it, but we like what we've seen to this point. Well, Coach Barkley's done a great job. He's been with me for a while now, coaching a lot of places. He's from here. He takes a lot of pride in representing this city, this state. Last year we had 2 running backs drafted. Only team in college football had 2 running backs drafted. Last year we had 2 running backs go to the combine. Us and Georgia were the only 2 teams that had 2 running backs go to the combine. Their 2 running backs did not get drafted. So I think we've been able to develop guys. They played very well for us last year. We relied on the running game quite a bit last year. They came through for us. We still want to be balanced, but yet explosive as we can be, but you have to be able to run the football. So I think with the running backs we have, we feel like we're 4 deep that, does 1 or 2 need to step up and become that playmaker, the difference maker, the guy that you can count on every game? Yes. But at the same time, they've showed us some things at this point, and all of them need to be ready to go. But Chris has done a really good job, and he really loves coaching football here.
Jeff, you talked about the depth behind Tyler, and you have some guys, younger guys like Pierce and Brady Allen. What do they have to show you in the early portion of fall camp to signal that they're taking another step forward, or what are you looking for out of them, I guess?
Well, the quarterback position is unique, and to play at a high level, you've got to be really good. You've got to be seasoned. You got to be sharp. You got to be able to make plays. You got to be able to come through when your team needs you. You got to be able to get the ball in the end zone. So I think, right now, Pierce Clarkson continues to improve and get better. Getting him as many game reps as we can where the rush is coming at him. He's got to make plays and be able to adjust and play on the fly. It's important, and I think we've done a decent job of that, but he's got to continue to keep excelling at that. Harrison Bailey is a transfer we took that has shown really good things. That in the spring game, I didn't give him a whole lot of opportunity to throw the ball up the field a whole lot. That was my fault, but he's had a good spring and a good summer, and I think he can play effective football if we ask him to. He's not extremely mobile a quarterback, but he can throw the football and he understands our system. Brady Allen, we've had for a while now at a couple places. He continues to improve and get better. Playing fluid and playing natural and playing athletic is what he needs to work on because he's very smart. He understands what we're doing. Right now that position's important. At some point, they're all going to play. If they prove to us they can play right now, we've been known to have multiple packages where maybe 2 quarterbacks play, maybe 3 quarterbacks play. Last year, one time 10 quarterbacks played. We probably won't have a package for that, but he thinks he can go out there and play as well. Those guys have worked hard, and it's hard to sit back and not get game reps and really feel extremely confident, even though all those guys are confident. But we've just got to make sure that we continue to get them seasoned up. But I think once we put them in, they'll be ready to go and they'll play well.
Jeff, when you talked about the running backs and getting 2 drafted, you've got a room this year where it's going to be a little different, but you've got some guys in there. I mean, Maurice for 2 years has got 6 touchdowns and has run a lot the last 2 years. And Donald obviously has experience, and then some good young guys. Your thoughts on the 5 that you have in there?
Well, I like Maurice has really had a good spring. He's in great shape. He understands it's his position and his time to shine. And I think he'll do a really good job. So he's been a good leader. I think Ed and Donald Cheney from Miami, he's shown good things. He's got experience. He loves being here. He'll do a good job. I think Kewan Brown's a young running back that has shown glimpses. He's got to continue to improve, but he's got some strength. He's got some pop to him. You get down to Isaac Brown, a true freshman. He's our fastest running back, and he's quick and he can run. And he shows some Jawar Jordan traits at a young age that is hard to teach. Now, getting up to speed and of what that position entails, and blocking and understanding protections and being able to do that, he's got to continue to improve there. But it's really shown a lot of good things. He works really hard. And then Duke Watson, we added as a true freshman as well, that has really good talent as well. He's got a ways to learn the offense and system, but he has talent, he has speed, and I think at some point he'll be a really good player.
You mentioned Gelati there a minute ago. He certainly has got a lot of preseason accolades, All-American. Talk about what he brings to the table for your defense and what he can do for you.
Well, we love Ashton Gelati, what he gives our football team. A ton of experience, extremely hard worker. He wants to be great. He came back this season to improve his stock and showcase to the world how great he can be and to help this team win. So I think he's been a great teammate. He's very strong at the point of attack. He can rush the passer. He's got some quickness and speed as well. He's one of those guys that can, he reminds me when at Purdue we had George Karlaftis, who was a first-round pick of the Chiefs. He won 2 Super Bowls his first 2 years with the Kansas City Chiefs. He comes back here and trains. Very similar game, just very strong, hard workers, sneaky athletic, can move around a little bit if you need to move him at times, but a tremendous person with a great work ethic and a great teammate. So I think he needs to be our leader. He leads more by example, but it's a good example, a really good example. So I think, we expect him to have a great year. And I think it's important that we play well around him so that he can showcase all the traits that he has that are really outstanding.
Jeff, earlier you talked about the importance of adapting nowadays to build a roster. When do you feel, because there always is so much movement, it seems like it's from November until even after spring practice, guys can come and go. When do you feel comfortable about the team that you're going to have to work with in the fall?
Well, as far as feeling comfortable, I think, these transfer portal windows in January and in late April, you don't know for sure who you're going to have on your team until May. So with that, you've just got to roll with the punches. You got to hope that you can keep a lot of people on your team happy and that they know that they're working for a common goal and they can see the light at the end of the tunnel if they continue to work hard. And normally that takes place. But at the same time, some people want to move and that's the way it works. So we've got to be able to adjust and have a plan in case that happens. At the same time, a lot of guys graduate. Some other guys, may not be back for a variety of reasons, and you've got to be able to improve your roster. And whether it's through signing young high school prospects, which we will continue to do, or saving some room for some veterans, it's important that you're able to win football games. So to have that right combination, there's nothing wrong with having veterans if they can play. A lot of times when guys are coming here with just 1 year left or 2, they're hungry. There's a purpose. They want to get something out of it. And if we can continue to mix that together with a great nucleus of young players, with a great nucleus of veteran players, it's not until after May where you don't really know for sure who's going to be on the team. And then you got to utilize 3 months to get them up to speed as fast as you can to make sure that, come game 1, you're ready to go.
Right here. You mentioned in the spring and again today that you want to stretch the field vertically, have a little bit more vertical passing game. Why are you confident you'll be able to do that better this year, and why is it important?
Well, I think in general, we believe in trying to score as many points as we can, creating big plays, utilizing the passing game to be effective doing that with great quarterback play and efficient receivers and tight ends and running backs out of the backfield and making an exciting brand of football. I think that's one of our goals as well, is to play an exciting brand of football that people want to watch, people want to play in, that can score points, that can score quickly. Now, at the same time, defenses are improved. Defenses change every year. They adjust, they adapt, and you've got to sometimes take what they give you. So to be able to run the ball effectively and throw the ball effectively, you got to be able to do both. And there's going to come a point in time where you're going to have to do one because the team's going to take away the other. So we've got to get really good at both. But if you can create big plays, just like, for example, we create a lot of big plays in the Boston College game, then you can do some great things. Now, our team's going to allow you to do that. They may not sometimes. So you've got to be able to adjust, have some things underneath and some things in the screen game to make sure you're figuring out ways to score points. But the quicker the drives are for touchdowns, the higher chance you have of scoring and winning, in my opinion. So we've got to be able to, back people off, stretch the field vertically, create room to do things like running the ball and throwing it underneath. Well, I think that the landscape is changing every year. As coaches, you'd like to know who your roster is and what it's going to be. The sooner, the better. And while we want players to have the freedom to come and go when they want, the sooner and better we know, the better off we're going to be. So that's always important. I think if there's a way to create a uniform way to control NIL and things like that, I think that can possibly help as well, because there's teams that are going to do what they have to acquire talent, and then there's teams that are going to try to do things as ethically and morally as they can as well to make sure you build the team the right way. So there's just a perfect balance, and right now there's a lot of different ways to get that done. So you just want to do your best to adapt and adjust to what's going on, but also put together the best team you can in order to win now.
Jeff, you talked behind Tyler, you talked about a lot of the other backup quarterbacks, so to speak, and I'm sure nothing's completely set in stone, but do you have a clear-cut number 2 right now at that position?
I wouldn't say clear cut. Right now, Pierce Clarkson would be the next guy in. Harrison Bailey and Brady Allen would be right there. And there will always be competition for that. There will always be competition for the starting spot. Right now, Tyler Shuck has proved that, he's a really good quarterback with experience, and we like what we've seen. And the other guys are right behind him. But we'll always have competition there. Sometimes you kind of gauge and see what are certain strengths of each player, and if you need to develop a certain package for every game to have that ready to go, we're not scared to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have those packages ready this year for different quarterbacks. And then unfortunately, if someone goes down like your starter, the next guy has to be ready to go in there and win the game for you. So continue to improve those guys. They all get quite a few reps. Is important, but it's important to be ready when you go in there. And sometimes if you're going in there too soon, it can affect your confidence moving forward. But at the same time, now is the time for them to be ready to go. And at any point they can go in, and they need to be ready. But I think they've all improved, and they've done a really good job. They study hard, they work hard, and that room needs to be ready to play. And like I said, we need to be able to utilize all of those quarterbacks at any point. Okay, thank you.